You know, folks, when it comes to catching big bluegill in the fall, one of the things that I look for, especially if I'm going to be fishing from the bank, is a deep point, just like the one we're looking at out here, a deep point. Now this is a prime situation right here when it comes to when our lakes here in the south are drawn down, and they're drawn down abruptly to focus on deep points. And I'm going to show you and explain to you why. Now what we're looking at is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is a cove, or you could call it a finger, that comes in from the main lake right here. And the water depth is basically pretty shallow. These are great areas for bluegill and shellcracker to stay in from springtime all the way through the summer months in the fall. Low water conditions. What happens is the bigger bluegill will funnel out areas that I just shown you straight out, let me turn the camera, to deep points like this one right here. And that is a great pattern to go by when it comes to targeting the bigger fish in the fall. Bluegill and shellcracker both get extremely active during the fall. That is, I'm going to be honest with y'all, some of the biggest ones I've ever caught was not in the springtime when they were bedding, but in the fall all the way throughout the winter. That's the reason why on this channel I will target bluegill and shellcracker from about this time all the way through winter, because I have caught some beasts this time of the year. And there's no doubt about it, fishing from the bank presents a lot of challenges, but I can eliminate a lot of the challenge by looking for the deeper points. Now folks, the technique that we're going to be using is called stitching. It's a very old but yet very effective technique. And I'm going to show you how to stitch, but first let's talk about the setup. I'm using a reel that I bought several years ago, and I looked it up this morning. It's an Eagle Claw model 125. It's a vintage spinning reel. Pretty little devil, ain't it? I looked it up, and these were made in the 60s. They didn't specify exactly when. They said the 60s and possibly into the 70s. So they made them for a while, undoubtedly. I've got it loaded with 2-pound test monofilament line. That's 2-pound test vicious, high-vis vicious. I'm using a little bitty split shot and a size 8 Aberdeen Eagle Claw hook with 2. And the reason why I'm using 2 is because they're small. They're real small. They're called wanglers, fat, juicy red worms, but they're actually real small. I got these from Walmart. That's what I'm going to be using. They're kindly tough. They take if it gets a little bit hot, they don't die. They're pretty tough worms. But I'm putting 2 of those on, making a cast, and just sliding it on the bottom like you would a Carolina rig. But in reality, we call this stitching. Back in the old days, we would use, and it'd work now, 6-pound test line, little bitty split shot like that, and 4-inch plastic worms, and that's what we would call stitching. Barely moving it along the bottom, a couple inches at a time, and letting it sit there. And that's a great technique for bass in the wintertime, but it's the same thing. It is a great technique for these big panfish in deep water situations like we're fishing right here. By keeping it moving, well, you're drawing attention, because I imagine these fish are going to be pretty scattered. I'm not for sure yet, but we did catch one here. That means there should be some more. The rod I'm using is just a 5'8" rod. All right, let's make a cast. Out there, that's about where I caught that fish. Now I'm just gonna, that's a light split shot, and I'm gonna estimate this water being probably, I'm gonna say 12 to 14 feet deep. It's really deep right here, but I'm gonna let it fall straight down. And it's gonna take it a while with that little split shot to do that, but now I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm using this. The main reason why I'm using this little split shot, well, is because there is a lot of debris on the bottom right here. Rocks, twigs, y'all can see down in the water right there, to hang on. And I'm using 2-pound test line, so if I get hung on something, it won't take much. If I get hung up, I'll just be breaking off constantly. So that's the reason I'm using a small split shot, so I can crawl it over this stuff, because this is coming up at an angle. In other words, I made a cast in the deep water and I'm coming up an incline, so that makes it even easier to get hung up. But right there is about where I caught that fish. Okay, it's on the bottom right now, so what I'm doing is just moving it a couple inches to draw attention, and just leaving it there for a little bit. And if I don't get bit here in a minute or so, I'll move it again. And that is a great way to find them from the bank when you're fishing from the bank. There he is, folks. There we go. Oh, that feels like a good fish right here. Feels like a real good fish. Look here. Oh, he's not as big as I thought he was, but he's a good gill. He's a real good gill, and that's what we're looking for today. Let's go ahead and bring him on in here. Oh, that's a good fish right there. That's what we're, quit. That's what we're looking for right there, folks. Best eating in fresh water, in my opinion. And I just so happen to have a little bitty bucket to put him in, so let's walk right over here. Put him in it. On it. Woo. That fish is a little bit bigger in my hand, but we might catch us a mess of fish. I may have located them right here from the bank. Let's put him. Oh my goodness. Come here. Now these are kind of small, folks, so what I do now, I like to hook them one time. By the way, these are tough. These things is real tough. They don't come off easy at all, but I want a little more worm than that, so I'm going to put two on just like that and let them wiggle and jiggle, and that should catch an old biggin. I've never ever fished a lake if it's got, where are them things at, mussels in it. Oh, here's one right here. See these mussels like this? If it's got mussels in it like that, folks, that's an indication of a healthy water. And another thing is, it's an indication of big bluegill and shellcracker. Now they'll eat them mussels just like catfish will. Sometimes you can get into a lot of fish doing this, and sometimes they're scattered. It just depends on the weather condition, and the water has just now is probably still turning over in here. But I always keep it moving. If I don't get bit pretty quick, I'll move it a little bit. If there's a fish there pretty close, that will attract him. There's another one. This ain't a bad one, I don't believe. Let me keep my rod up. Yeah, he's pulling pretty good. We may have found them right here. That was pretty quick. Boy, these fish are deep. That's a gill right there, eating size. Don't tell me that thing, he swallowed that, folks. Now he's just barely, look here, he's hand size right there. Not exactly what we're looking for, but yeah, I'm gonna have to, he broke that, so we're gonna go ahead and eat that fish. Normally I would throw him back right there, but we'll go ahead and eat him. But the key to it, I believe, especially when the water's turning over, is by keep your bait moving. Keep it moving. I mean, little bitty movements. And sooner or later, you're going to draw some attention. Now, these are the hooks I'm using. They're just Eagle Claw Aberdeen light wire panfish hooks, size 8. A 6 would work just as good, but I've run out of 6s, so I'm just going to use these 8s. Use what I got. But what I'll do is open the gap just a little bit. I just bend it out a little bit. That'll stick that fish a little bit easier. But all I'm doing right here is just tying a uni knot. That's a good knot for 2-pound test line. I've been using it a whole lot here lately. I've been using a uni knot for years, but I have discovered that it's a strong knot for light line. It's not as strong as a Palomar, but it's strong enough. It's strong enough. I mean, we're using 2-pound test line. I mean, there's just so much strength you're gonna get out of 2-pound line anyway, but 4 or 5 wraps, that's good enough. And I just cinch it down like that. That's a good knot, folks. Simple knot to tie. Very good knot. And a strong knot. There's fish. There we go. Oh my goodness. Now this might be what we're looking for right here, folks. This gear ratio is so slow, but I love these vintage reels. This might be what we're looking for right here. He feels like it. Yeah, it's a big old gill. This is more like it right here. Now I'll show y'all what I did right here. I moved from where I was because I was catching a lot of fish. This is a big one right here. This is what I've been wanting. And this water's cooling down, so these fish is going to be real good. I don't know. That could be a shellcracker. Could be a red ear. Let's see what we got. Come on up here, boy. Golly, that's a good one right there. Look at there. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Big old turtle right there. Y'all see that? But look at there, what one. That's what we're talking about right there. Big old things. This is the time of the year to catch them too. If you can just locate them. See how tall that fish is? I mean, that's a good one right there. All right, let's put him in a bucket and we're going to talk about it. It's hard to detect the strike. I mean, in this deep water, they'll inhale a bait and have it swallowed before you can even do anything about it. This is where you need a long shank hook, and I don't have any with me, but it is what it is, folks. Deep water is a great thing to key in on during this time of year, especially when they draw the water down like this. They're going to go to deep water most of the time. So this spot right here, I'll show you. Right down there past that curve is where I was fishing, right there. And so I was catching quite a few, just caught 2 keepers, mainly small ones, and I kept looking at this. And I didn't realize it, but there's a finger that runs back up in there, and that's always a good thing. So you have a point over there, and I'm fishing on a point, and this point's deep. Now you know there's got to be some more fish out there. This is a classic textbook place to catch the bigger bluegill and shellcracker. It's just in the summertime or fall. Let's see if there's another one out there. Okay, there's a bite. We're done bit that quick, folks. Now he's not moving with it, but that's the way that other one did. Okay, he's moving just a little bit. There he is. They just ain't gonna move with it. That's just all they are to it. Yeah, there's some fish out. Now this one here, I don't think is too big. I was hoping we'd hit a bunch of big ones, but well, I don't know. He ain't bad. Look here. I believe he's eating size. Yeah, it's a good bluegill. What am I talking about? It's a good fish. He just didn't want to fight like that other one did. They all got their own. Look at there, what a bluegill. I believe we found them right here now. They're biting quick. A big school of them right there. Look at there. That's a beautiful, beautiful fish right there. They figured it out. Points, folks, on these deeper lakes. Points and deep banks. That's where to focus on. And that's work all winter long. Absolutely all winter long. Let's put this one in the bucket. Now them's good eating size right there. That's the kind I like to scale them, cut their heads off, and fry them, tail and all. You talking about chomping down. I'm talking about, hey man, I'm talking about chomping down on some doggone fish tonight. Okay, I'm talking about it. There's still bugs out here. There's little bugs, all kinds of little old fall insects. See the bugs. Okay, I'm going to go out. If I don't stop, I will go out. Let me settle down. There's fish. There we go. Oh my. This might be a serious one right here. He picked it up way out there. I made a long cast out there. I mean a long cast. Long as I could. That's why I'm using 2-pound test line too, folks. You can get a lot longer cast. Yeah, that's a good gill right there. That water is deep. I'm talking about. That's why there's so many fish here. They're out there, just rooting around on the bottom. Look at there, looky there. I want y'all to look. That ain't no little old bitty right there now. That's a man. That is what we're talking about right there. Big old pretty things. I tell you what, if I've said it once, I've said it 100,000 times, folks. Fishing is a sport, well, it's second to none. Folks, I want y'all to look what a big old tall bluegill right there. Now you talking about some good eating right there. This time of the year, the water temperature is starting to fall, and that's going to cause these fish to be even better eating. The colder the water, the better eating that any fish is, but especially a bluegill. That's my favorite fish right there. And that's 4 or 5 old big ones like that I've done caught. It's just a blessing. It's just a blessing to be able to locate these fish from the bank. Oftentimes is hard, I'm going to admit. It takes a little walking, a little thinking. But remember that in the fall, if the lake is on the drawdown, they'll relate to the deeper water, no doubt. Clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it. Clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it, clearing it. Okay, folks, I got them laid out right here. Just 5. That's all I wanted, and I caught a lot of fish. But what I'm going to do is probably go back and see if I can't locate some of them big shellcracker. But these are some big bluegill I'm talking about, which this one is the biggest. You talking about some good eating now. That's going to be delicious. Of all the fish that I've caught in my life, different species, 2 are the best. When I lived in Florida, I loved flounder, to eat them that day, to catch them and eat them that day. Here and in Florida, it's going to be bluegill and shellcracker above crappie. And I like them a lot better than crappie. There's just something about the taste. Now when you catch these old big ones like this, you got something, if you like bluegill and shellcracker. Now folks, that was just a quick trip, and I had to figure those fish out very quickly, and what I showed you is no doubt a great pattern when it comes to bluegill and shellcracker, especially when they draw the water down. When they draw it down that low, those fish are going to relate to deep points and deeper areas, even deeper sloughs and things of that nature. Deeper water in general is where I look for them. And the technique that I used is no doubt second to none. I've caught more big bluegill and shellcracker by using that technique than any I've ever used. I want to say, God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for everything y'all do. And, hey, woo. I'm talking about doggone. Hey, man, the adrenaline was bad today, but I had to withhold it. There's too many people around. Hey, and remember, go fishing when you can, because it's good.